Down Under. This is the first and official podcast of Enhance NT. My name is Carol. I'm a registered migration agent and I'm here with my colleague.
I'm Anna, a qualified education agent counselor.
Okay, so Enhance NT is a visa migration service specialist. We are based here in Darwin, Northern Territory. We cater to students, businesses, and family visas. So in this particular podcast, we will be discussing mainly about international student visas, but we will also be touching on a little bit of about work visas. As you know, students usually progress to work visas and eventually permanent visas. But like I said, this podcast is mainly about study visa pathways in Australia. Okay, so let's move on to giving a little bit of
History of Enhance.
Okay, history of Enhance. So Enhance NT was established in 2019. So that was already, how many years ago is that now?
That's 4 years?
Over
so pre-pandemic times, right?
Just before the pandemic, because pandemic started
2020.
Yeah, okay. So it was started by myself. I am the director of Enhance NT. So it just started with that one business name in the beginning, and the mission was to empower businesses in Australia that will bring more people to Darwin, to Northern Territory in particular.
Yes.
So would you like to know why why that was the mission?
Very interesting, of course.
Yeah. So the thought process was because I was based here in Darwin, I did notice that the population here was a lot lower
as compared to other
cities.
to
other states and territories around Australia. So being a migration agent, I was a very new migration agent back then. Just got my registration. I really wanted to, I genuinely wanted to help contribute to Northern Territory. And it was always, the main issue was always, we don't have enough people here.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and the first time I arrived in Darwin, I actually noticed there wasn't anybody around when you land from the airport.
I don't know. Everything is empty?
Yeah. Well, when you land from the airport and you come out, it's like, where is everybody? So that was, so going back to the mission, I thought, then I would like Enhance NT to empower businesses in Darwin, Northern Territory, so that more people can come. Businesses can bring more people to Darwin.
Investing, we attract more business.
And there's more services that can be provided to the people who live here in Darwin. And in effect, improving everyone's lives. So that's why it's Enhance NT. Okay, so.
All right, so let's talk about the credentials of the team of Enhance. So,
well, right now it's just you and me right now, but we should tell everyone that this is not just the whole team, right?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, so now you can just see the two of us. But we also have behind the cameras, behind the scenes, our director, Mr. Tristan Legaspi.
Yay!
He's right there. And we also have other people who support the production of this podcast. So I'll just name everyone. So we have Cameron, we have Harrison. So that's part of the production team. But in terms of Enhance, we have visa consultants who are based remotely overseas. So we actually have in the Philippines, we have 3 visa consultants there. We have Mr. Ross Kisao, one of the visa consultants. We also have Claudette Charvet, and we also have Miss May Galvez, who is a case officer. I don't want to forget Jairus Lansang, who is based here in Darwin, but he's in the Philippines at the moment on
Yes.
holidays. And lastly, another visa consultant who's working remotely is Miss Jessica Goya, who's based in the Netherlands. Am I forgetting anyone? I want to make sure.
I think you mentioned them all.
Okay, so in total, I don't know, there's like 10 people or something. So that's the whole of Enhanced NT. So tell us about your credentials, Miss Anna,
Oh,
before you became a qualified education agent counselor.
well, prior to coming here to Darwin, I had a diverse work experience at the Australian Embassy in Manila. So initially, I worked at the then called DIAC, or Department of Immigration and Citizenship, as I work on tourist visas and transit visas, plus medical applications of those visa applicants.
What
And
year was this, Anna?
It was in 2010, December,
Okay.
until year 2012. So I got promoted. I moved on to another department. They call it DFAT, or Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, as Corporate Services Officer, where I do a lot of liaising within the diplomatic community. So I stayed with corporate for 7 years, and then until I moved on, I got promoted again to as a consular and passport officer in year 2019, up to last October of this year. So
very recent.
Yeah, very recent. Yes.
So you really, most of your experience really is dealing with, immigration matters.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, since 2010. So
2010.
that's over a decade of experience in immigration matters. And that's why she is working for Enhanced NT.
Yes.
So that's very interesting. That it might be an interesting information for our listeners to know that I also came from Australian Embassy.
Yes.
Right? So we both of us came from the immigration section
Yes.
of the Department of Home Affairs. So as you can see,
Were you in integrity then?
yes, I was.
Yeah.
So you can tell that the Home Affairs, they like acronyms, right? Like
Yes.
it used to be DIBP.
It
When I
changes.
came, it was DIMIA. I even had DIMIA. So that's DIMIA, Department of Immigration and Multicultural International something Affairs.
And then they changed it to
DIBP.
DIBP, Border Protection, right?
Department of Immigration and Border Protection, and then DIAC,
DIAC.
Department of Immigration, Australian
Citizenship,
Citizenship.
yeah.
And now it's just DHA,
Yeah,
which is
Department
Department of Home
They
Affairs.
simplified it.
Yeah. I think there was a time it was DIC, just Department of Immigration and Citizenship, but it didn't sound good if you read the acronym. So that
They
didn't last.
shifted to another name.
That didn't last very long. I think it's only
I
a
think
few
so
months.
too.
So, just an interesting trivia that I think they changed the acronyms based on who's in power in the Australian
Whoever
government.
is seated.
Yeah, who's ever in politics. So the letters change based on who.
That's how they do it.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not just me and Anna who are from Australian Embassy. Just for everyone else's information, Mr. Ross Kisao, Miss Claudette Charvet, and Miss Jessica Goya are all also from immigration section
Yes.
of the department. So we all have as you can see, the team of Enhanced NT are all very well versed in Australian immigration matters.
Definitely.
Yeah. So so that's part of the reason why enhanced NT was built. You know, we don't want to get just anybody from the street. You know, it's professionals who are really experts in their fields. So that's pretty much the credentials of our team. So, like I said, I'm a registered migration agent, and Anna is a qualified education agent counselor. So, would you like to tell our listeners what's the big difference? I mean, in your own, you know, understanding, what's the big difference between an RMA and a QEAC?
RMA, registered migration agents, they are definitely qualified to give advice on people about migration, as compared to education agents like me. I can guide students on their plans and their education plans here in Australia, but since I am in Australia, I am not qualified to give migration advice.
Because you're in Australia.
Because I am in Australia.
Yes.
But if I am in the Philippines, yeah, if someone inquires, I think.
Yes, so a lot of, to be honest, a lot of education agents overseas do provide advice. But if they were in Australia, it would not be allowed.
Yes.
And it is always a good idea if you're a visa applicant and you're thinking about coming to Australia. It's always good to have the opinions from both sides,
Yes.
both from a registered migration agent and a qualified education agent. So just to add to what you just said, which it's completely correct what you just said, and I 100% agree. So just to add, when Anna is talking to a client, she's basically giving advice about student visa pathways. You know, like what courses you may want to study, which schools would provide the type of study you are interested in, the location, the costs involved. So Anna would be very qualified to talk about that. But once you start asking her about what about after my studies, what happens next, what visa can apply for next, that's when she's going to tell you, I'm not qualified to provide advice.
And I'm going to refer them to you.
Correct. Yes, that's the correct thing to do. So I hope everyone is clear on that. On sometimes why we have to be strict on, you know, if you're talking to Anna, if she can't provide you any further advice, please understand that we are just following the law.
Yes, because it's
Australia.
a criminal offense here in Australia for education
it
agents
is.
to provide migration advice. So hands off to that.
Yes. And it's good to be aware of those things. So let's talk about the accomplishments of Enhance and T, the licenses and partner schools. So, well, since Enhance was established in 2019, we've actually helped a lot of people come to Australia on different types of visa, not just student visas, but also tourist visas. What else?
It varies.
Yeah. So we cater to both temporary and permanent visas. Okay, and we also help people apply for Australian citizenship. So we have. We really have a wealth of services that can help people depending on their circumstances. So in terms of our partner schools, could you tell us who our partner schools here?
Yeah, Enhance has partnered with reputable education providers here in Australia to offer international students an outstanding education experience. So recently, we got invited to attend a graduation of ceremony in one of our partner schools. It's ICAE, or International College of Advanced Education. It's based here in Darwin.
Okay.
So ICAE is a beacon of excellence in vocational education, and they have over 200 students around the globe, and they offer a wide range of vocational programs like you want certificate in baking, they have that. Certificate in kitchen management, and they even offer diploma courses. So I believe recently they came up with this package courses, particularly designed for international students. So it's like the package course consists of certificate 3, certificate 4, and then you want to further your study, you do diploma. So going back to that graduation, it was, I believe, last December 6th. It was well attended, and one of the attendees, or one of the invited guests, I was able to meet a notable figure in the Filipino community here in Darwin. His name is, he's a consul, Mr. John Rivas. So he's very supportive of the Filipino students here in Darwin. And
Which province is he from in the Philippines?
I'm not sure, but definitely he is working on this project in Negros and in the Visayas area, where he aims to bring in more international students here in Darwin. So he is partnering with other colleges also, or education providers, to make that vision come true. So it was a well attended event, and well, it's very interesting, and there's Pinoy pride in there, because one of the what do you call this? One of their excellence awardees is a Filipino, a kababayan.
Yes.
Ang
Yes,
galing.
I believe we have photos of him on our Facebook page. I can't remember his name, but yeah, it's very, very. Did you enjoy when Brian used a bowl?
Yes.
A big knife.
It was my first time to witness such.
Yeah, it's their tradition to always open a bottle of champagne with a.
That's why.
What kind of knife is that called?
I
forgot.
don't
It's
know. It
like
was a long knife,
it's not
and
a bolo,
at
but-
first I got scared. Like, seriously, you're using that?
Yeah,
they-
it's a tradition.
It looks like they're having fun, and Consul Rivas was all for it.
Yeah. So it's good to know that they still keep this tradition alive and well.
And they even provided lechon, huh?
Oh yeah, they always
Yeah.
provide lechon.
So I even had to explain what lechon is to one of their guests.
Yes.
So yeah, if you're looking for an educational experience that combines world-class academics with a vibrant multicultural environment, then you must consider ICAE.
Just to add to what you said about ICA, I remember when I first came to Darwin in 2016, and my office then was on Kavanagh Street here in the city,
Just nearby.
And, and my boss told me a little bit about the history of ICAE. So my boss back then was Charles Ewan, and he told me, oh, the owner of ICAE is Sean Mahoney, and when he started like 17 years ago, their office was just downstairs, below my boss's office on Kavanagh Street. And when they started, it just started with just a small room.
From humble beginnings.
Yes, correct, from humble beginnings. And they really just started with a few courses. I'm not sure how many courses back then, but I know that ICA started as a hospitality school, offering hospitality and cookery courses. So it's just really, I'm very proud of them. I'm very, very proud to be their agent, because I can see, history in the making, that they're really growing and adding more courses to their services.
They
not
have
just-
a lot now.
Yeah. So from hospitality courses, now they have baking.
They even offer business courses.
Yeah, and business courses, as well as remedial.
They even have automotive, I think.
Do they have automotive
Yeah.
now as well? And remedial massage therapy courses.
Yeah.
So
Beauty therapy, yeah. Something
beauty
like
therapy
that, yeah.
as well. So all of those are very, very, very good career choices, especially if you're thinking about coming to study and work here in Darwin, Northern Territory. So that's about for our partner schools. So next, Anna, would you like to talk about study visa pathways?
Yeah, so definitely. For international students planning to study here in Australia, the primary visa pathway is the student visa, subclass 500. So this visa allows students to live and study in Australia for the duration of their course. And you know, students, they commonly undertake a package of courses to improve their employability, and because courses can be packaged in any way as long as they meet the prerequisite requirements. So an example for that is you undertake a certificate 3 that gives you that's like 40 or 52 weeks of study,
Yes.
and it opens pathways to hospitality industry like cafes, motels, pubs. So you want to acquire the skills to be able to enter that industry. You take up certificate 3. Now you want to further your study. You want to do like a supervisory role. You enroll to certificate 4. That's again like 40 to 52 weeks usually. And now if you want, of course, to move up the ladder, then that's about time that you take the diploma course, which is again like 40 or 50 weeks of study. But after your diploma course, you can definitely acquire positions in hospitality industry like team lead roles, and you can even start running your own business, and you'll be in the upper level of management. So definitely there's a lot of visa pathways, and we'll be happy to discuss further.
Yes. So if you're interested in studying or applying for a student visa, it's really important that you have a face-to-face or a one-on-one consultation with either me or Anna, because each individual's circumstances is different
Yes.
and unique. So, there's no one size fits all. So when you study, you also have to study a course that's relevant to your background or work experience. So the good thing with our partner school, ICAE, is that they offer various courses.
A wide range of courses.
Yes.
So they have that.
Correct. But I would definitely recommend, as a migration agent, I would definitely recommend that you study at least a 2-year course, because that would mean studying 2 years would mean you would meet the Australian study requirement, which is at least 92 weeks, and that would enable you to that would make you eligible for further visas in case you wanted to stay further. Either you could study further or work, apply for a graduate visa after your student visa. And do you have any recommendation? Is there a hot course that's currently being
Lately, I'm getting a lot of inquiries. So, people who really want to be in the hospitality industry, and even during the graduation, Consul Rivas and Brian
O'Gallagher, the
of
marketing
ICAE.
manager of ICAE.
Yeah, they mentioned that some of those students are already working
Oh, the graduates.
in hotels. Yes.
Oh,
and
that's great.
and since they have already graduated, they have they are expected to move up the ladder.
Yeah.
So
So they're probably on their way to working full time after
I
after
believe
completion.
so. Yes.
And the good thing about ICAE, so we have to let our listeners know, is that ICAE provides internship while you're studying. So it's actually included, work
in their curriculum.
Yeah, it's included in the curriculum. So if you were working, if you're already studying, let's say 20 hours a week, normally you would only be allowed to study 48 hours per fortnight. But with ICAE, because the curriculum is set up in a way that the work is included in the study, in effect, your working hours a week are
From 48 hours, it would increase.
Well, it's 24 hours a week
24 hours
now.
per week, yeah.
Yes, but if you include the internship, which is part of the curriculum, your working hours go up, but it doesn't affect your
The visa, you do not violate any visa condition.
Yes, correct, because it's part of the curriculum. So in effect, you are working 40 hours a week. In effect,
That's a lot.
but you're
Very
not
attractive.
you're not breaching your visa conditions because it's part of the curriculum. So that's one thing I wanted to really point out on why you should consider ICA, because of its internship program. Okay, so I would also suggest commercial cookery. So now it's certificate 3.
Yes.
And foreign
Certificate
commercial cookery, that would be, but didn't they package it
They
with
packaged
hospitality?
it, certificate 3, and then it's already inclusive. If you're going to check the ICAE website, you wouldn't find certificate 3 being offered to international students,
okay.
because they say it's already included in the package course that they are offering. So I think the first 40 weeks of the course would be about certificate 3. So it's like a package: certificate 3, certificate 4, and diploma.
Okay.
Very, very attractive.
Okay. So what happens normally after you study cookery and hospitality? So just so that they know, so usually the job opportunities are that you could work as a chef or a cook.
It
Anywhere
involves food preparation and presentation, I believe. So you'd be able to, gain knowledge, and then eventually get employed. So
you will be employed
definitely,
while you're studying.
Yeah. While you're studying, you're already employed, and then
Because ICAE partners with the local businesses here in
Yes.
Darwin, the local hotels.
yes,
And
and we have a
the
lot here.
hospitality businesses here in Darwin. So they've got that connections with the local employers here in Darwin, which is always a good thing. Yeah. So normally, so we're still talking about study visa pathways, right? So normally, the package is 2 years, right? 2-year study.
Very ideal for international students.
And can you talk a little bit about the requirements of what they would normally do? Would they need English tests? Would they need?
Yeah. For requirements, of course, basic. English test is a requirement. Usually for IELTS, it's 5.5.
Yes.
So you have to have this certain English level of English skill, and I'm not sure what the equivalent is in PTE or other English
I'm
tests.
not sure either.
In IELTS, it's 5.5.
Overall 5.5.
Overall,
okay.
and overall score.
But PTE equivalent is also acceptable. So take note that there are 2 types of IELTS. One is general and one
academic.
is academic. But in this case,
I think general is accepted.
yeah, general. For purposes of enrolling and being accepted into the school, the IELTS general would be sufficient.
Then other than IELTS, of course, those basic requirements that you've got to, have your school records of and then even your employment records. Of course, your chosen course should be aligned to your previous work experience and, education.
A typical question that I keep receiving when they're applying for student visa is, do we need to have show money?
That show money is always the mystery.
So I just want to touch on that because the term show money is not the proper term.
Yes.
Because it really has a negative term when you say show money. So just for everyone's
just for
awareness.
a show, yeah.
Yeah, because when you say show money, it sounds like you don't really have access to that money.
You're
You're just
borrowed
showing
it
it
just to show it.
So it's really not the proper term. It's evidence of financial capacity. That's the proper term. But it's so common that more people
They
understand it
thought
that way.
that it's as a show money, but actually what the visa officer would like to see is that you have the capacity to support yourself and your study while you are here in Australia, and you just don't rely on your income when you start working, because definitely it's not acceptable.
Yes.
We have to, the visa officer should see that, you know, you have the financial capacity, and if you're bringing your family with you, the more, of course, the requirement would go up.
Yes. And you need to show that you have genuine access to those funds. Okay.
And that you should demonstrate that you are just a temporary entrant.
Yeah. And take note, because we were both visa officers from the Australian embassy before. But did you handle student visas? You handled tourists?
Tourist.
Ah, okay.
Tourist visas.
Yeah, I handled tourists too. And then I got to handle students afterwards. So I spent a lot of time on deciding student visa applications. So
Tell us more about
some of
it.
some of you may have seen. I actually have a client who came up to me and said that I was the one who granted her visa.
Wow.
Yeah, that was back like 12 years ago. So it's such a small world. Like she was already my client, and we got to talking. We
were her
didn't
visa
know yet,
officer?
and then you know, we got to talking. So because she's been here a long time, like I don't want to say how many years, but she's been on more than one student visa. And so I asked her, so do you remember who granted your first student visa? And she said, no, I can't remember anymore because it was such a long time ago, but I'm going to check my email. And then when she pulls up her email, it has my last name. It says C. Abelia. So it's such a small world, you know. Imagine that was already like more than 12 years ago. And then she ends up here in Darwin. Diba? Ayun. So, so just going back to the show money, please understand that, you know, visa officers really don't like this term, show money. So please start referring to it as evidence of financial capacity. Okay?
Yes, that's the proper term for it.
Correct. And who can provide financial support to a student? Can it be someone's cousin?
Well, definitely one of the qualifiers, parents.
Yes, that's the
Spouse.
straightforward case. Your parents.
Parents, spouse. But for as long as you can demonstrate that you have direct access to that. But if it's just money.
How about my neighbor? I'm really good
No,
friends with my neighbor.
Definitely,
but
it's
my
not
neighbor
acceptable.
said
Or
that
a friend of a friend.
Yeah, a friend of
Nope.
But
A friend
No.
of a friend of a friend? No.
How about my ninang?
Oh,
Can my ninang?
if your ninang is your
Ninang is
nanay,
godmother.
then yeah.
So there really is no the wordings in the immigration regulations is that you have genuine access. So it's up to you to convince us or the visa officer that you have genuine access. So it doesn't matter who's providing that. But
Yeah.
typically, you can't convince us if it's your neighbor's money, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Or a
just-
friend's money.
Yeah. So you have to play by that. You know, convince us that you have genuine access. Okay. So we would like to move on to the services that we offer. The services of enhanced NT. So as mentioned before, I mentioned before at the beginning of the podcast that we cater to
Temporary and permanent.
both temporary and permanent visa applications, and we even provide citizenship services to help you
for
apply for your
citizenship.
citizenship application. But that's like way after. Like, get your permanent permanent visa first. Get your PR visa first, right? So typically in our in our day-to-day dealings with people, when someone comes up to us, usually they have to start with a temporary visa, right?
Yes,
It's very rare that we get a client who's already
A PR, a permanent
eligible.
resident, yeah.
No, I mean in terms of eligibility,
They already have it, the papers.
yeah,
Or
it's very rare that someone is already eligible for PR. You know what I mean? Because why? Usually they haven't done their IELTS yet. Is there a way? Is there a way for someone to become PR without IELTS?
No, definitely not.
Generally speaking,
You
no.
have to have that level of English.
Yeah. Speaking
requirement.
generally, everyone has to take IELTS
Yes.
and must have at least competent English. Okay, so you must also have at least 3 years work experience. Okay, so if you don't have IELTS yet, you don't have competent English, you don't have at least 3 years work experience, chances are you will not yet be eligible for permanent residency.
So gain those requirements first.
Yes. And more importantly, skills assessment. You need a skills assessment, okay? So that's why a lot of people take student visa as a stepping stone.
Usually it's the stepping stone.
Student visa. Stepping stone to gain that qualification, to gain that work experience, because you can work while you're studying. Yeah. And then after your studies, so you've gained that experience. And then you can apply for
like
skills
hitting
assessment.
2 birds in one stone.
Yes,
you
correct.
study and then you gain the experience.
Correct. Okay, so after the temporary visa, usually it's 2 years. You do have to invest at least 2 years of your life into a temporary visa, and after that, then you will be eligible. Okay, so what we've talked about is services to individuals, but we also provide services to companies or businesses in Darwin. So. And by the way, we also have clients outside of Northern Territory, but I just like to focus on NT per se, because
first.
that's where we are based, and we are able to have like face-to-face contact with everyone. But that's not to say we don't have clients from other states. I have clients in Queensland, in Western Australia, and even in Victoria. But the majority of
Mostly
my
are
business
here
clients
in
are here
Northern Territory.
in Darwin. So for businesses, if you're a business owner and you need people or staffing, we do help businesses get staff from overseas.
Yeah.
Or if you have someone in particular that you already have a person in mind that you want to get from overseas, and you would like to sponsor them, we do provide these services. So we provide sponsorship and nomination services, and typically if you're a business, you need to do a labor market testing. So what that means is you're showing efforts to advertise and recruit locally. So there is a proper way to do that. That's compliant with immigration requirements, and that is a service that Enhance NT provides. So please do contact us if you require assistance. Okay, so we're ready to close. In closing, so
Almost.
are we almost ready to close? Well, we're really excited to talk about. We can talk forever about immigration and visas, but we would save the others for the next episode.
Yes, other topics would be discussed in the next episode.
And please also, if you have any questions or comments, please send them to us. We would love to answer any questions that you may have. So there are a few ways you can contact us. You can contact us by email, by text message. We also have a phone number. I do have it memorized. It's 0879792352. And if you would like to email us, you can email us at which email do we have? So
one email address that I memorized: skills@enhancednt.com.au.
So we will also provide that in the below.
Yeah.
So again, that's skills@enhancednt.com.au. So we've got social media pages. We are active on Facebook and Instagram, and we also have LinkedIn accounts. So on Facebook, that's our most active platform. We have Enhanced Down Under, or EDU.
EDU.
So EDU because it's the acronym for, or not
Education.
acronym, but short for education. You know, like when you have an email.
.edu.com.
Yeah,
something
so
like that.
that's why our podcast is called Enhance Down Under. So our office hours are normally from 8 to 5 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. But we do close on public holidays, like during Christmas and New
Yes.
Year, we will be closed. So our last office day is, well, today's Thursday, tomorrow's a Friday. So we will be closed for the New Year, but we would be open from the 3rd of January. That's Wednesday.
Wednesday next week, yes.
3rd of January 2024.
3rd of
So we are located here in Darwin, Northern Territory. Our address is 590 Mitchell Street, Darwin, Northern Territory. So Anna, is there anything else you would like to
Yeah,
say,
follow
Narco?
us on Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe to EDU on your favorite podcast platform.
We also have a YouTube now, by the way. I just created it.
Please
on
subscribe.
Christmas Day.
And
So
feel free to share to your friends.
please search Enhance Down Under on YouTube and like and subscribe. Oh
Yes.
my God, I can't believe I'm gonna say.
So yeah, you can always leave your comments and questions, and then we would answer that on our next episode. So yeah, feel free to ask us if
Okay.
you have any questions.
Thank you for tuning in and
Thank
see you on the next
you.
episode.